For everybody tuning in, do you mind kind of giving a brief introduction, listing your name, the sport that you currently play, and the university that you're going to be attending?
My name is Nicholas Rowe. I'm a soccer player and I'm going to be attending Benedictine College in the Hart Conference for the NAI.
Speaking a little bit about your journey so far, being an international student athlete is definitely difficult, right? And, definitely number one, being far away from home, being in a different culture around different individuals that you might not have been around before. But how has that journey as a student athlete shaped you both personally as well as athletically?
I think first mentally it made me stronger because being away from home, coming all the way from Jamaica into the US. It hasn't been my first time coming to the US, but it's my first time spending a long time away from my family like that. And I just had a little sister, so it's kind of hard for me not to be around her like that anymore. But I think it's something that comes along with the game, and not only the game, but with just life overall. Like to make that next step, you have to make some type of sacrifice. So it's just something I tell myself I have to overcome. And physically wise, in terms of like my playing style and developing as an athlete, I think it also helped me because it not only showed me the game from a Jamaican perspective, but also American perspective. And then with a mixture of different cultures that I'm playing with, sometimes people from England, sometimes people from South Africa, it really helped to shape my game in like terms of versatility.
When we think about student athletes, right, we think about the two components, one being the academic side, one being the athletic side, and trying to balance both. And ultimately, that can be, quite a hard thing to balance, especially the demands of school, but also the demands on this being an athlete in general. But for you, Nicholas, how have you been able to manage both being a student and balancing those academic responsibilities, but also being a soccer player and kind of managing the goals and the achievements that you want to accomplish on a soccer field?
First and foremost, I should say that I'm really a hardworking person. So I've shaped myself into becoming this person who can balance my social life, my academics, and my soccer career. So throughout my high school, I've always been playing soccer, and I've done some of the toughest topics and subjects in high school. So it really helped me to shape myself from early to have that perfect balance between becoming an athlete and doing well in school. So the transition into the US wasn't really that hard for me because it's something I've been used to. And I think I have somewhat perfectly mastered it.
Switching the gears a little bit and talking about mental health and mental performance within sports in general, I know that this has been a topic, kind of, across the professional scene, kind of starting to dwindle down into the collegiate scene as well. But it's picked up some traction over the last few years with different professional athletes kind of talking about, what they went through. Maybe it's, depression and anxiety, different, fear of failure, confidence, all that type of stuff that goes into it. And ultimately for you, Nicholas, I mean, how much do you believe in kind of the mental health space in athletics, as well as, kind of what role has that played in your own career and your own journey as a soccer player?
To be honest, I'm glad you touched on the topic because as I grow older and mature, I realize the game is not really all about physicalities. And more for me, it's mostly about the mental side because if you don't have the mental capacity to do certain stuff like to go out on your own and train and to balance social life and school and academics and stuff like that, you won't be able to perform as a top athlete, especially going to the collegiate levels. So I think that it is something that is crucial and should be paid a lot of attention to, especially to athletes suffering injuries and trying to overcome injuries and any problems within life. I think is something that should be most focused on. And as I grow older, I know how to gain that mental toughness. So I think that's something I also experienced in the US because I didn't have the best time in the US, but I made the most of it. And I think I should give credit to my strong mental capacity for that. Because without that, I don't think I'll be even going to Benedictine College this August. So it's a good topic to touch on.
Transitioning now, talking to specific challenges, right? I know that there's probably a whole bunch of different ones that you can talk about specifically, being an international student athlete. I know for myself, when I was in college, I could talk through, about injuries that I had. I could talk about, being away from my parents, 12 hours away from home and kind of being in a new environment that I wasn't used to at all. But For you, Nicholas, what were some of those challenges that stick out to you, and how were you able to overcome those moments?
To be honest, in my career, I have a lot of challenges, so I could name a lot right now. But I think the main challenges, let's go back a few years ago, is when, to be honest, I wasn't the best player. So I've really, really trained very hard to reach where I am right now. So that's one of the challenges. I wasn't really being selected in some of the teams back in Jamaica. Wasn't playing my best, struggled with confidence and stuff like that. So what I've realized for me to gain confidence, I have to train more. So I have to do stuff like training on my own, 2, 3 times a day, 7, 8, 10 times a week, especially during the corona. I think that was a really pivotal point for me because while some other players were like at home, sitting down, not doing much, I was really training very hard, like super, super hard. And the next crucial pivotal point in my career is when I went to the US, which was last year, and I went into a program which wasn't what it was supposed to be, but yet still, I still had to balance the academics and the sports. And most of the time, I have to be going out by myself to make sure that I'm studying right, eating properly, going to the gym on my own, and training by myself. So I think those two things are like the most difficult times in my career. It's just overcoming to become a better player, and then my transition into the US.
Talking a little bit about support, right? Specifically kind of about support, kind of on that mental side of the game, especially when, hey, someone to talk to about this aspect of the game or about this part of life, maybe, hey, I'm feeling kind of homesick or whatever it is. Who for you comes to mind, as kind of that primary support system during your time as a student athlete?
So I would say my teammates back home. I have 4 friends that I would say are my close teammates, and one of them is actually a professional player in Serbia right now. Another committed to a D1 college recently. Another playing in NAIA D1 also. So those three players can really relate to me. So when I'm going through my tough times, because they're also athletes and they know me, they can help me go through whatever I'm going through. And also, my mother can talk to her, tell her I'm feeling homesick, and she said, Nicholas, just do what you have to do. I believe in you. And also my girlfriend, although she doesn't really know a lot about soccer, but she's also there for me. So I have to give thanks to those people.
Yeah, and again, I like that you mentioned, hey, I got a bunch of buddies who play soccer too, right? And kind of understand that aspect because sometimes having shared experiences with those individuals saying, hey, you know what? I can relate to what Nicholas is going through right now. And, I can give him some great advice, maybe some great tips, kind of some extra encouragement, some extra motivation to say, hey, you know what? You got this, right? Keep pushing through. Hey, this is what it's going to look like type of thing. So I think that's amazing. And also to the, not only the girlfriend, but the mom being there for supporting you is such a great feeling as well. So I'm glad that you have that ecosystem around you to just, really bring you up as an athlete and be there for you during those moments. And talking a little bit about success, I know for myself personally, that the definition of success really evolved from, the time that I was in high school all the way up until the time that I finished college. I mean, when I was in high school, success for me was, hey, how can I play at the highest level possible and kind of get the most accolades? And then as I started, kind of going throughout my college career, it was like, well, how can I be the best teammate possible? And, how can I, really cherish these memories with a lot of these friends and teammates that I have and build bonds with them that are going to stay for years after we graduate and kind of go our separate ways. But for you, Nicholas, I mean, what does that definition of success look like for you? And has that evolved over time in your shoes?
The vision of success for me hasn't really changed over the years, to be honest. For me, to be successful is obviously getting a college degree, but my ultimate goal is to be a support system for my family and my close friends. So that's the ultimate goal for me right now. So I think I'm on the right path for that. And obviously to be a professional soccer player, hopefully in God's will. So that's my vision of success, to be a support system for my family.
How are you able to handle those pressure situations, whether it might be during practice, maybe it's during the recruiting process even, maybe it's even during the game. I mean, what for you were you able to go through, whether it's a mindset, something that you told yourself, any of that stuff in order to kind of persevere through those moments?
So, to be honest, I think I've really trained myself over the years to deal with pressure in the right way. So, like, I accept pressure. Like, I think I really thrive under pressure. I welcome pressure with open arms. So, in the game, with pressure situations, I love them. So, especially like to take the last penalty or to score the winning goal, I would take that any day. So, what I did to become comfortable with pressure is just to do things that is hard. So like in the morning when I don't want to train, I train to build that mental toughness. When you do things you don't want to do, so you know your body becomes and your mind becomes accustomed to doing hard stuff. And they do it not only just to do it, just to do it at a high level. So if I'm training at a high level while under pressure. So even in training games or scrimmages, I'll take the winning penalty every time because I want to build that robustness and strength to deal with pressure situations.
Kind of reflecting back, Nicholas, if you were able to give advice to your younger self a couple years back, whether it was about the journey, maybe being that international student athlete, some of the stuff maybe even too that you've learned, today or the past couple of years that you wish you had known 5 years back, what advice would you love to go back and give yourself?
To be honest, I really wouldn't change anything. I really love the journey. I think everything that happened for a reason and made me who I am today. But only thing I might tell my younger self is just to believe in yourself more and not to listen to the crowd in the market. Just focus on yourself.
I love this question because ultimately I feel like typically whenever I ask it, it puts a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces. But for you, Nicholas, I mean, what have been kind of, one, two, maybe even three of your favorite moments, whether it's, from kind of your athletic journey? It doesn't necessarily have to be, the past year. It could be something from your early childhood that you're like, hey, I still hold this, to my heart because it was with my, my best friends and, close to my family, all that type of stuff. But for you, what have been some of those favorite moments for you so far during your athletic career?
Really, it's just it's just the close moments with my teammates, to be honest. As I said, they're like my best friends, my close friends. So like, just training with them, doing individual sessions, I really love it. Especially here in Jamaica when the climate is so nice. I would be on the beach juggling or playing some soccer beside the pool. Those are just one of my favorite moments ever.
In closing, one of the last things I like to ask individuals is just, hey, if you're kind of talking to other student athletes, maybe even international student athletes who are starting that process as far as, looking to, come to the States, get recruited by a school, play soccer at the collegiate level, all of that good stuff, what's one piece of, advice or wisdom that you'd like to share with them that you wish that, hey, maybe you had, heard or known, stuff like that, a couple years back that would be helpful advice for them?
I think what I would give to them for advice is to have initiative, like to do everything for yourself. To be honest, I had a coach which could be considered slightly my college agent or whatever, but he told me that I should do everything for myself. And for me, he told me that I think that is what's really affecting players to go to the next level because I think they're only depending on people to like bring them over to the US, and in most cases, it's not ideal. I think you have a best interest. You know what's best for you, and I think that you should go for it and not rely on somebody else to go for it for you. So I think people should be more knowledgeable about the college process and actually do research because that's what really helped me to even go to Kansas this August. So I didn't do it through anybody, it was solely by myself. So I think that is really what I would give them for advice.
For everybody tuning into, again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to link all of Nicholas's social media handles down below. Again, he's looking to really grow his platform. I've seen him, on social media currently. He posts a lot of great content on there, a lot of great soccer stuff. So he's going to be looking to connect with a lot of you guys out there too who are in the soccer world. But again, thank you so much, Nicholas, for taking the time today. It was awesome, awesome stuff hearing from you again, and looking forward to your continued soccer journey here in the fall.